What's going on, everybody? This is Danny from Slow Restoration. We're in the Camaro today on a small mission. Here's pristine auto detail. But we're actually on our way to pick up more t-shirts and hoodies for our friend Sendit Steve. So if you're waiting on t-shirts and hoodies, he's got a fresh shipment coming at you real soon. So we're in the Camaro. And by the way, I did shave most of the scruff and decided to keep the mustache for a little bit. We'll see how that works out. But we're in the Camaro. We're driving there now. We're just gonna enjoy the ride. Normal Pennsylvania scenery. I have been getting some questions about the cam in the Camaro here. It's the Texas Speed and Performance VVT3 cam, which is a decent sized cam, and the questions are like RPM range and drivability. Well, here we're cruising along, and we'll throw it in 6th gear here. Drops it down to just over 1,000, like 1,100 RPMs, and it still pulls strong. No bucking, no jerking. So drivability on this cam is actually extremely good. I'm super impressed with that, with the size of the cam. It makes very good top end power, and still, like I said, we're 52 mile an hour, 6th gear, and 1,100 RPM, and it still just pulls. Drivability is there's definitely no complaints there. All right, and just like that, we have the merchandise. So we're gonna head on home and get back to work on this Camaro. And of course, we gotta do some pulls. There's the front clip off. I was a little worried about these. These things often rot out. These actually are pretty decent shape. We have a bolt broken off there. We have a bolt broken off there. That's why they ran a sheet metal screw up. But we'll just have to get that out. And this side also is pretty solid. A little bit of undercoat on there we'll have to clean up, but no rust. So that's a very, very good thing. So I think the next step is to build a dolly. We have some casters here. We're going to take and build just a wooden dolly. Screw those casters to it, support this body so we can wheel this thing around. Of course, we have other projects in the shop we'll have to get, and we're waiting for parts at this point on this car. We can cut the floor out, but I kind of like to know I have parts here to go back together before I get too crazy with stuff. So there's a little bit more cleanup we can do on the inside. We can get door panels and dash pad and stuff like that off, but I think it's time to build the dolly. Let's get to it. Just inspecting this front end here, it's actually in very good shape. Fenders, no rust in these supports, no bubbling on the outside, and they do appear to be GM. Quick, easy way to look and see is you look inside this cage nut, and it's rectangular, flat. All of the aftermarket stuff. If we run over to this other car, as we can see on the radiator support, the cage nut or the welded nut is it's square, but it has a rounded surface coming off of it, and that's definitely aftermarket. So those fenders over there do appear to be GM. That's a good sign. All right, we have a little bit of lumber laying around, so we built us a little cart here. We have 3 casters on there. Should be more than heavy enough to hold this car. This car is just sheet metal shell at this point, so it's not very heavy. But let's get this flipped over, get the car dropped down on it, and see how it works. All right, we get it down under there. Let's go ahead and lower it down and see how she looks. Back's hitting. Front's on. That's it. It is actually sitting on the hoist right now. It's on the frame rails in the back, and it sits on the front pretty nicely. Let's see how stable it is. Oh, it's nice and solid. See how the front looks. Yeah, that looks good. Sitting right across the frame rail or the floor pan. All that's coming out, so it doesn't matter. Looks good. Right at the inner rocker. The reason I used 3 casters was because that's what I had. I could have used 4 and maybe made it slightly more stable, but this actually seems pretty good. I do have 2 more casters, but they're a larger diameter, so it would sit crooked. Let's move it around, see how it feels. There it is. It rolls around. It actually moves extremely easy. I may end up modifying it. With 2 people, it would be no issue. It would be extremely maneuverable because there's casters front and back. But I do have 2 fixed casters that aren't swivel. I may end up putting them up front, and it'll just, you can wheel it around from the back. I think with 1 person, it may be a little easier to maneuver. Definitely though, with the casters all the way around, with 2 people, you could put this thing anywhere you wanted, and it moves extremely easy. So now we can get this thing moved around. Like I said, we got a little bit more stuff to do on the inside. We'll get the door panels off, get the dash pad out, get the rest of the headliner out. Other than that, it's down to cutting. And I kind of want to wait until I get some sheet metal at least on the way here before I cut too much out. It's usually the way I like to do things, but I will be putting the X brace in this car. Once I get the headliner out, it'll go from the top of the ceiling down to the rocker, and then from that side from the ceiling to the rocker, and I'll weld them in the middle. That'll just keep it from twisting and moving around. I did a bunch of these cars like that, and it seems to work very well. So there it is. Fresh shipment of Sendit Steve backyard built t-shirts and hoodies. I believe his information, his email is tazfree@aol.com. If you need one, we'll put that in the description. And also remember, you can get the Finding Fast Motorsports apparel. Also, we'll put that information in the description. And let me know what you think about the mustache. Keep it or lose it. Thanks for tuning in, and have a good day.